What's going on, everyone? Austin John Plays here, and today we're going to be talking about the Master Sword in Tears of the Kingdom. In Tears of the Kingdom, whenever you have a weapon and you fuse something to it, it tells you exactly how powerful it is, except for the Master Sword. So you may be wondering, what is the power of the Master Sword? It's 30. Many weapons have varying amounts of durability that you're going to be having in the game, like here, the Scimitar of the Seven, which has a durability of 60. But you have no idea the durability of the Master Sword. It's 40. And while I previously made a video talking about how you can fuse different materials to a weapon to extend the max life of a weapon, that's not how the Master Sword functions at all. In fact, the Master Sword has several unique properties only to that exact weapon. Internally, this has two different codes. One of them is Master Sword, the other one is Revitalized Sword of Legend. And something very unique to the Master Sword is that if you fuse anything to it, it's not actually going to be visible until you actually go to do an attacking action. You're going to have that green glow of what's going to ever be attached, but that's all. If you fuse a monster part like the Silver Lionel Saberhorn, it will replace the actual blade of the Master Sword. But if you fuse on a secondary weapon like this tree branch, it will extend the length of the Master Sword. You can see how Link is going to be swinging his arms upward and downward like this, not doing any slicing motions, as opposed to the Master Sword by default that's slicing on a horizontal plane. If I attach a heavy hammer-like weapon, like the Boulder Breaker over here, we're going to be changing our hand actions once again to this diagonal angle, just like the tree branch was. Even if I were to go ahead and attach something long, like a spear, you're going to notice that we're still going at this diagonal angle. That has to do with a very common trait to almost every single fusible object and item. Is it going to be blunt or not? If it is not blunt, like the Scimitar of the Seven that I have attached, it will remain slicing on a horizontal angle. The Silver Lionel Macehorn, which is considered to be blunt because of that, we're going to be going at a diagonal angle, as opposed to the Saberhorn, which is considered to be sharp, and you're going to be slicing on a horizontal angle once again. The Master Sword also has a unique trait that when you're going to be at full health, you're going to be able to throw the weapon, and it's going to be shooting at a beam going forward. If you have the Champion's Leathers or the Tunic of Memories, and you go to do this, you're going to be able to do it when you're not at full health. That's the unique trait to these two articles of clothing. After its durability is completely depleted, it's no longer going to be accessible in your inventory, and you have to wait 10 minutes for it to recharge. After it's fully recharged, it now has its durability complete. However, it's never going to be having that same shine that every other weapon has. That shine has to do with the weapon's max life, meaning that if something is fused to it, the additional durability that it gains is going to be added on top. The Master Sword is incapable of having its max life reached at its current state, since fusing an object to it doesn't add on top, but instead replaces the sword itself. That's the reason you're never going to be seeing that shine or twinkle on the Master Sword. This may be reserved for future DLC like we saw in Breath of the Wild with Trial of the Sword, which honestly, I would love Trial of the Sword in this game format, and you're only allowed to use the Master Sword as a weapon and fusing different things to it. I think that'd be really fun, but that's besides the point. The Master Sword has another unique property. Anytime that you're going to be in the presence of any gloom-based enemies, meaning pretty much every single enemy while you're going to be in the depths, or gloom spawn while you're on the surface, the sword is going to start glowing. This glowing Master Sword lets you know that any single attack that you're going to be doing to a gloom-based enemy is going to be doing 1.5 damage. However, it's important to note that that 1.5 multiplier only applies to the Master Sword's base power, making the base power, instead of 30, it's going to be 45. This 1.5 multiplier has no effect on anything that is fused to it at all. So at its base, this power 30 Master Sword plus Dinral's Horn is a power of 56. However, when it's going to be powered up and in the presence of gloom, it's going to be a power of 71. It will not be a power of 84. Once all of the gloom-based enemies have been defeated, the Master Sword is going to go back to its normal form and no longer be glowing. Because of its effect to be able to defeat gloom, you're going to find it very useful while you're in the depths. However, on the surface, not nearly as much, except when you're facing Phantom Ganon and other gloom-based enemies. The nice part is, this weapon is always going to be by your side. Personally, I just always attach a fire-based thing, whether it's a Lizalfo or part of Dinral, and then I just use it as a flame sword, and that's literally all I use it for ever. Because I like many situations, whenever I just need fire, I just hit the sword button, and then boom, I have fire. That's all the information on the Master Sword, its durability, power, and how its mechanics work in Tears of the Kingdom. If you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.